What's going on, fish? Welcome back to your favorite Coy Pond. As you may have noticed, yes, we have a different co-host today. Kev Dog was not able to make it, so we got Matt back with us. I think third time's the charm. Yeah. And also what you might have noticed is, if I get the strings out of the way, coming soon to the shop is we got some Coy Pond merch. So round of applause to Kevin. He was able to get us a sweatshirt early. Yeah, we're coming out. We're going to do sweatshirts, crew necks, I think a couple hats, and as one of Kev's favorites, a visor. Pretty exciting stuff happening over here. We're still working on the voicemail stuff to get that kicked off. Another week of NFL football under our belt. Episode 49. We're almost 50. We're just going to get right into it, and we'll see where it takes us. Last Thursday, Kevin tragically picked the under. Coy Pond picked now 3-3. We are keeping with the even record, which is kind of nice and kind of horrible.
It's better than losing.
You know, I think this time last year we might have been 2-4 roughly, so it could be worse. You know that the next one's going to be a winner. Past one was a loser. But 49ers beat up the Seahawks 36-24. You know, I think that feels so long ago to try and remember the game.
Yeah.
But from what I do remember, I think it was, what's his name? The backup running back behind George Mason.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Mason
got hurt, so they brought him in.
Yeah, so we can probably expect any running back in that on that team to be able to have a 100-yard game.
The O-line.
Yeah, I mean that system they have over there is designed for running backs. So I'd imagine no matter who's in that running
Kittle
back position,
had a pretty good game too. I think he had 1 or 2 touchdowns.
I think he might have had 2.
Use check and his wife, they're jumping to the stands.
That's
like
right.
That's how I remember it now. It's coming back.
Yep, and the Seahawks were able to just not do much against it. Geno Smith birthday game. I think he threw a pick pretty early on, and then another pick towards the end.
Couple fumbles in there.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Seahawks are exactly what we thought they were, pretenders.
Fraudulent.
They've been beating up bad teams, and they got beat by frankly, the 49ers right now, record 3-3, is a good team. I don't know what they're gonna end up being.
They're just hurt.
They're pretty injured.
Ayuk.
Yeah, Hey, I almost forgot. Thank you, Matt.
Of course.
Ayuk watch. He's now the 49th, back to the 49th, I believe, ranked fantasy wide receiver. Way to go, Ayuk.
Back in top 50?
Yeah, back in top 50.
Yep.
Everyone told me from the wide receiver rankings video that he was going to be amazing. Tyreek Hill was going to be a top 3 fantasy wide receiver. I don't hold grudges. We got one game in, and I also almost forgot the Week 2 Spooktober Award. You know, we did it last week. We got week 2 with us now after just an insane amount of our due diligence into looking into this person. Some of the front runners for this award were Will Levis. Some were Trevor Lawrence just for not winning. Some could have been ETN. There was a handful, the entire Cowboys organization. There's been a handful of immaculate players to win this award so far, and I think it only makes the most sense to give this award to Mike Williams. Ex-Charger, dog, injury, loved the injury report. Big fan of it. Should have made it to the red line. Aaron Rodgers clowned him in the post-game interview.
And now he's probably on the trade block.
Trade block. Bring him back to L.A. We miss him dearly.
He was a good bench warmer there.
We need a veteran, someone with his kind of nature and stature. So, Spooktober Week 2 award goes to Mike Williams for the final. I don't know how many times he was even targeted in that game, actually.
It was quite a few. A few deep balls. I don't think he caught any of the deep balls, though.
For not making it back to the red line. So, nevertheless, our Spooktober Week 2 award, I couldn't miss that. Thank you for reminding me.
Of course.
That would have been just tragic to miss one of the 4 we can give out on this show. Nevertheless, Jaguars-Bengals in England, or London, or however you want to say.
Jaguars-Bears?
What did I say, Bengals?
Yeah.
Jaguars-Bears in London. So historically, a big Jaguars home field advantage.
Exactly.
Typically, they're the favorite. You see more
I had
fans.
The Jags going into that.
Yeah.
That kind of hurt.
I mean, I kind of expected it, but, nothing really getting started over with the Jaguars. Bears handled business. Caleb Williams, I think, had an immaculate game.
He did, but it is the Jaguars.
It is the Jaguars.
It's only week 6. It's too hard to overhype and underhype all the rookies right now.
No, I don't like Caleb Williams. He's only beat Jaguars, Bears, Colts, and Rams.
4-18 record against winning teams.
Exactly.
Or the teams they beat have 4-18 record combined. Yeah.
Yeah. So not too impressive. Nevertheless, Bears got it done. I was kind of surprised it was that big of a game, but what are you gonna do? Texans handled the Patriots. No real surprise there.
Yeah, not really. Joe Mixon came back and he looked good.
Yeah,
that's the big storyline there.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, he really is the glue that holds that offense together. You can really tell them coming back, given it was the Patriots, but you still had to go to New England.
Yeah.
Drake May, didn't really look as bad.
First start. Yeah.
First start against the Texans. That offense can't handle the Texans, but I didn't hate it, to be honest. I think he could be
potential. We'll see this week because they play the Jags again in England, so we'll see what they do.
Commanders Ravens to the T, I think went to what the bookmakers expected.
Yeah,
a high scoring game that the Ravens win by 7. Commanders still put up some decent points against the Ravens
still
defense.
Look solid compared to last year. I expected the game 40-0.
Yeah.
So it's a big improvement.
I was gonna say I was saying it last week, but that was the first real defense that Jane Daniels has gone up against, and he didn't do too bad, honestly. So I don't see that as a big loss to the Commanders.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry, for the love of God. Browns at Eagles. I fucking hate both these teams.
I know, but the Browns still somehow made the Eagles look bad.
Yeah, no. Sirianni. There was a bunch of news about him yelling at the fans.
Yeah,
at the end of the
he
game.
won the Super Bowl.
It came out that the Eagles fan that was chirping him was telling him to run the damn ball the entire game.
Well, it's smart.
I agree. So then they finally ran it, and that's why Sirianni was running to the stands to yell at that guy, because he's saying he finally ran it.
Yeah.
And then they'll have his kids in the post-game interview as a shield.
Well,
And it didn't really shield him, but it was hilarious.
He should still be fired.
Oh, his haircut.
That entire team is so stacked head to toe, and the fact that they're barely beating the Browns of all teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys fucked him at home first week.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Dallas. But
took me a second.
Eagles or something else. If they don't make the playoffs,
I mean, last year they were doing
sure.
so good, and they went on like a 7-game losing streak to not even win the division.
Yeah.
They come off hot this year again. Saquon Barkley in the offseason. Expect to be this great team, and now what? They're 3-3.
Yeah, 3-3 sounds about
going
right.
to the bye,
and they barely lost. They barely won against the Browns.
Exactly.
So that was one of the actual games that was unexpected this week. Cardinals at Packers. Packers handled business. Marvin Harrison got out with a concussion. Sadly, I don't think there's much to talk about there. Lambeau's a hard place to play, and Packers have a legit defense.
The
this
entire
year.
division.
Yeah, that NFC North we'll get into here in a little bit, but that division is stacked. I can't believe it. Buccaneers winning 51-27.
Kind of shocked me. I thought it'd be a little bit low scoring because it's divisional and they're both two good teams, and then just out of the blue.
2 negatives made a positive, and God was a positive.
Yeah.
I mean, Tampa Bay, up until half, it was actually, I think, the Saints winning that game.
I believe so. You were right.
And then the Buccaneers just railed them in the second half.
Saints just slowed down. The Bucs never let off.
Without Mike Evans, too.
Yeah, he was limited. He was limited at the second half.
Bucky Irving looked good. Rattler didn't look terrible. Second half looked a lot worse.
Yeah.
What are you going to do there,
That's
honestly?
just experience catching up to you there.
Yeah, Rattler I thought was solid. We'll see this week against the Broncos. I mean, if the Saints win that, maybe we have a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to expect there. Colts at Titans. What we expected.
Yeah, I didn't. Every time that thing turned on Red Zone, I was a little disappointed to be
on
my screen.
We had to watch that Red Zone game for maybe like 10 minutes at one point.
Yeah, because everything else in commercial breaks or halftime.
That was the most excruciating thing to watch. Sorry, Kyle, if you're listening to this. I know the Colts won nevertheless with Joe Flacco, but I just didn't enjoy watching either one of these teams.
Both teams looked horrible the entire way through.
Yeah. Chargers at Broncos. Jordan, you know, here's that L, brother. 23-16. Honestly, the Broncos got 2 cheap scores towards the end. This game could have ended 23-0 or 23-3.
Starting to look like that playoff comeback at the end there.
A little bit, but that's Bo Nix, not Trevor Lawrence, my
That's
good man.
fair.
There's not much to say there. Everyone looked good. I think a couple of wide receivers for the Chargers had concussions.
McConkley.
Quentin Johnson had some other injury going in, but they both came out. So
yeah,
I'm assuming that all's good there. Steelers at Raiders. I don't know.
That 32-13, that score feels off. There's so many penalties on the Raiders. So many I think 2 touchdowns called back, missed pass interferences, flags that shouldn't have been flags. The Raiders got shafted there. I think the Steelers still would have won it.
Right.
But I definitely feel like that score's a little lopsided for how the game actually went.
I agree. TJ Watt is inevitable, to be completely honest. And there was more Steelers fans at that game than I think there were Raiders fans.
I agree with that, yeah.
That was a bad showing for the Raiders, who claim to have the black hole and always give Chargers fans shit. So just pointing that out.
And now the Raiders are about to go downhill quick.
It feels like it. Davante Adams, bye-bye. Hello, Tom Brady. I don't know how much that'll help you, but...
And O'Connell barely had anyone to throw to begin with.
So Myers, has to be wide receiver.
Last time I tried that, when Davante's been out 3 games in a row. So
yeah,
that was hamstring sealed though.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah. How's that hamstring feeling, buddy? Lions rout the Cowboys. I don't know if we need to spend too much time on this.
All I want to say is their O-lineman got another touchdown called back.
Yeah. Who's the real winner? Detroit.
But, I mean, the hook and ladder, what's his name? Penny Sewell or
yeah,
what's his, how do you say it?
Or something
Penny
like
Sewell. And then they had Dan Skipper lining up, running wide receiver routes. The crazy part, they were doing all that dumb shit, and they still never punted once that game.
I know. It's
disgusting.
And the fact that everyone scored except Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was so excited for that game, too. And then every time it popped up on Red Zone or whatever, it's like, oh, Lions, or, oh, let's see what Dak can do. Interception.
No more.
Yep, that was brutal.
Falcons at Panthers, that went as according to plan.
Yep.
I think it might have been close at one point, but it really never was close.
No.
Bengals at Giants. NFL, please, for the love of God, flex games that no one needs to see. I'm sorry if you're someone that we know that loves the Bengals watching this podcast or listening to it right now. No one, and I mean no one, needed to watch that. I wasted 3.5 hours of my life tuning into Sunday Night Football because I was, in fact, not waiting all night for Sunday night.
Yeah. If Malik Neighbors might have played that, the Bengals probably lose that.
It could have been a very different story because, I mean, they basically just got a cheap Chase Brown touchdown at the end, right? Or was that Zach? Whatever running back it was.
Chase Brown. But, I mean, when Joe Burrow had that 40-some-yard touchdown to start the game, I thought it was just going to be a blowout right away, and then just all energy somehow died. There was no continue that energy on to the next quarters, plays, anything. It just died in boring-ass game.
Quite frankly, if the Bengals lose Trey Hendrickson at any point this season to, the Lions, that'll be a problem.
Time to sack the season.
Yeah, but still got the win. You beat Danny Dimes. Congratulations. Bills at Jets.
Good game.
Waited all weekend for Monday night, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like we said, Mike Williams said, that's a tragic way to lose the football game.
The red line.
But the Jets, before that drive, I think, fumbled the ball, or there was some sort of turnover, I think, leading up to that. And then they got the ball back, and
Rodgers did an interception.
Yeah. So that is what it is. They have Davante Adams now. Bills have
Amari Cooper.
Cooper. I don't know if anybody paid attention to the carousel video a couple weeks ago that I made, but it was the trade carousel, and the two people on there were Amari Cooper and Davante Adams. And I had a meme face of Will Levis. So not too bad of a call on my part, but at the time those trade talks were lighting up, so it was nothing new that anybody couldn't have not expected.
Before we get into next week's games, who do you think's going to go to the Lions as the pass rusher? I've heard Max Crosby, I've heard Trey Hendrickson, I've heard Hassan Reddick. Yeah.
I think most likely it's going to be Hassan Reddick if anybody goes to the Lions. But I would love to see J.J. Watt somehow come out of retirement for the Lions.
I doubt that, though.
I don't think he is. I was listening to the Pat McAfee show as I do
I'm
today.
I'm kind of leaning Max Crosby. I know he said he didn't want to go anywhere a couple weeks ago.
But he went to Eastern Michigan.
And Davante Adams just left. So he's not going to be on a winning team for a few years because that team's just in shambles right now. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have wide receivers. They're running games weak.
No, I completely agree. And
whoever wants to win.
You never know what's going on in their head when they're or at the time. So when Max Crosby made the statements, it was Davante and I think a lot of that got put as rumors.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, who knows what he's thinking or what his agent's thinking. And I'd love to know who the Lions are contacting right now about players.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, they're going for Joey Bosa, and the Chargers keep Khalil Mack. You know what I mean?
That'd be crazy.
Who knows who's
Either way, I hope they sign him on a 2-year deal because I'd love to see them lining up with Hutch next year.
I agree. So we'll have to see. I'm very interested, as you are, to know who goes. I think
that's the only other big potential trades right now, right?
Yeah, that's the only rumors I'm hearing. I don't think there's much else. I mean, there's no Christian McCaffrey news. It's kind of like a lull week aside from everyone wondering who's going to the Lions now because the Bills and Jets both put the wide receiver trades to bed by just signing the two guys.
Both those trades were horrible too.
Oh my, the fucking Bills fleeced the Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns keep getting ripped off.
They got a third, and then the Jets got a conditional third. Or the Raiders got a conditional third.
So the Browns received a third and seventh, and the Bills got Amari Cooper and a sixth.
Yeah.
Different years, I believe. But if you look at it, it's like, okay, so you traded up by going from a 7 to a 6. Then you traded a third for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and they signed him on the league minimum, too, so they cost the Bills nothing.
I know. It's insanity. The only other thing I can think of news-wise is the Jerry Jones fiasco on the radio network.
I'll fire you. I'll find someone else to ask me questions.
Do you know who my dad is?
I mean, brutal, man.
I don't
Reporters
blame
are
him.
right too. That's the questions that you need to get to the bottom of.
The thing is it's like it's a Dallas radio station, right? So I think they do this a lot, and I'm just blown away by the fact that it's like you really didn't make many moves in the offseason. Yeah,
you signed back Zeke.
And you signed back Zeke. You got CeeDee Lamb.
Paid Dak.
You paid Dak.
Way too much.
Yeah, maybe we could have that discussion soon enough. But then it's like your team clearly doesn't like either the coaching or anybody on the teams. There's problems that there's 47-9 that need to be addressed, and Jerry's just pulling the. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, it's
so. I'm sure Kevin next week, for all those lovely listeners and watchers, he'll have a more in-depth discussion about that. Yeah. But to touch the surface, I find it to be quite hilarious. And
the worst part about him saying all in is Davante Adams once said that he was open to going to the Cowboys.
So did Derrick Henry.
And so did Derrick Henry. God. And so did Josh Jacobs. And so did Aaron Jones. And we got Ezekiel Elliott.
And now
I wonder why these questions are happening to him now. Like, where are they coming from? Oh, because he said you're all in. He let 4 great players go without paying them and got a washed up Ezekiel Elliott.
So,
okay, there's my rant. Sorry.
You're fine. Cowboys are doing well. They're doing their thing. I guess we'll get into this week's games. I don't have anything else that happened this weekend in that respect.
That's just about it for me, too.
Oh, yeah. Good weekend for gambling, though. We both did pretty damn good. I don't know if anybody else was taking our picks from last week or anything like that. It was a pretty chalky week, meaning a lot of the favorites won, or people that the teams you think that would win won, and it was a majority, which was awesome.
It was also high scoring in a lot of the games too, so all the overs won, which
typically,
the overs mean people are getting their yards and their rushes. So
a lot of people will always take the overs and the touchdown scores because that's a more exciting game. You win more money. Therefore, good gambling week. So hats off to the public. That means this upcoming week is going to be horrible.
Yeah, I've looked at it. It looks brutal. I have no idea what I like.
On the surface, it's not looking favorable to anybody. And we'll go ahead and just get right into upcoming week's games. As you know, we always start with the Coy Pond Pick of the Week, which is over-unders only on Thursday Night Football. We have a special phoned it in by Kevin. He, cue the suspenseful music, has decided that the under, and we'll just take it with it live, is 36.5 points is going to be the Coy Pond Pick of the Week. Which means under 36.5 points means we're in for the worst game of our lives to watch.
And it's probably going to be right, too.
I know.
The entire game, everyone's just riddled with injuries.
Broncos at Saints. Bo Nix for Spencer Rattler. Chris Olave's out. Denver has almost the entire defense out.
Yep. At least 3 of their safeties are hurt.
Yeah.
And then Rashid Shaheed out. Chris Olave out. Taysom Hill out.
Let me see if I can find these names real quick. Just from me to you guys, since this comes out Thursday morning.
Yep.
You're going to be making your picks. Luke, Jordan, Jason, I know you're listening. The Saints have the worst yards after catch defense in the NFL. Yep. And it's not close. I think it's by 200 yards. And that's after 6 games. That's missing a lot of tackles.
And Bo Nix doesn't have...
No, Bo Nix doesn't have many people to pass to. So, my personal pick on this game, I don't know overs. I don't know money lines. I don't know spreads. My sole pick in this game is going to be Devon Veal. Vallejo. I have taken his over 30.5 receiving yards. He's going to get worked into this game more. Him and I think it was Troy Franklin are the rookies. Sean Payton said that both will be getting a little bit more looks this upcoming game. The Saints can't tackle worth a shit. So instead of going over with the receptions, I've going over with the yards.
I like that.
Now, you can apply that really to any of the Broncos wide receivers. We can assume there's not going to be many options.
Yeah, but you said he's going to get more looks.
Yeah, both those rookie or first-year wide receivers, I'm not too sure, don't quote me, will nevertheless have a couple looks their way. That could be one catch, and they run it downfield, to be honest, if the Saints are that bad at tackling. So I'm just putting that out there. Kevin already also took Denver. He has by 5. So Kevin's guessing Denver's going to win this game by a sizable margin.
I believe the spread is 2.5 for Broncos. So
Kevin's taking Denver spread.
Blows my mind, honestly, because at Saints, isn't it?
It's at Saints, and really none of this makes sense in my head. I don't quite get I don't get any of this.
No.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But the Saints do have a lot of injuries on their offensive line too, so that might play in as well.
I said my pick is the Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, do you get a
The
touchdown?
running back. Touchdown or just yards in general.
Okay.
Because Kamara's already injured.
Right.
He's not going to be running the full game.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get all the workload, so he's going to get some yards.
Yeah.
And in week 1, they did give him a touchdown and give him a decent amount of runs. So.
Right. And there's also a Saints wide receiver, Burns, I think, number 19. Something.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He's the tight end, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, nevertheless, I like him. I'll put his name up here because I can't remember what his name was. Nevertheless, England game. New England at Jacksonville.
Another rough one. Starting the week off. At least the games that are bad get off early.
Yes,
you know?
this
we
one's
gotta
an early
watch
one.
these late.
Babe, wake up at 10 o'clock. Do what I do. Miss the entire game.
Watch the fourth quarter. The 3 points are going to score the entire game.
There's actually no active spread you can bet on this game, at least on FanDuel right now, which is hilarious.
The Patriots are favored. That's all we know.
Patriots are underdogs.
Are they?
Yeah, at least on FanDuel right now.
You're right.
I
was looking at.
I don't have a pick for this game. I find it to be disgusting in general. Jacksonville should have home field advantage now. I don't know what to expect.
Not much.
Not much. Kevin thinks Jacksonville wins by 3.
I think the Patriots win that.
I do too. But Kevin thinks they win by 3. We're just making sure I get his picks to you guys. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier. Thank you. Kevin says, thank you for his very own personal bobblehead. We've placed it on the shelf where it will stay for now until he decides to move it at a later date. Doing the old Heisman pose, maybe?
Yeah.
More or less? Okay, I just had to get that out of the way. Tennessee at Buffalo. This should be an absolute bloodbath.
Buffalo should smoke them.
Buffalo should win
Amari
this.
Cooper's going to have a game.
Yes, I don't see any world where Tennessee wins this.
Is Amari Cooper now technically the wide receiver 1?
Maybe. I would
Because
be
it's Keon
surprised.
Coleman and Shakir.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
so. As the veteran,
okay.
the only veteran in that room, really. I would assume Shakir's been there now for 2 years, but
He doesn't get that
2.
many targets that much. It's usually Kincaid's their leading.
Yeah. Coleman will be 3. Shakir.
Yeah, Shakir. You know who you're talking about.
Asshole. He should be 2, and then I would imagine Amari Cooper's 1. I think he can play this week. I don't know if there's any limitations on that or not.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Kevin has the Buffalo to cover the spread of 8.5. On to the Texans-Packers game. I'm not going to lie. I think Packers defense could hold Texas up a little bit here.
Yeah, but the Texans also have a good defense, too.
They do.
I like the Texans a lot here.
I do. I like the Texans for the sole point that they're dogs. I think I'd take whoever was the dog in this game. Packers being home helps a lot, though, because
The
Houston's
Texans
dome.
are dogs.
Yeah, Texans are dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm going Texans on that one.
Texans on this one. Kevin.
I think Mixon's still a really key piece.
I think so, too.
And if Mixon's healthy, I think the Texans are going to win 99% of their games.
I agree.
The only game they've lost this year is when Mixon was out, and they looked rough.
I'm going to abstain from this. I'll just use Kevin's pick. Kevin has Green Bay to cover the 2.5.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there. Dolphins at Colts. Yikes.
I'm giving it to the Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah, I'm giving it to the
You
Dolphins.
think Snoop Huntley is going to be able to come into the Lot House and do some damage?
I do.
Interesting.
I don't know, because Mostert's back, right?
Mostert's back.
And A-Chain's gone. Mostert can still carry a lot of that workload.
Yeah, he can.
And then they do have another running back who was hurt last week as well, who's back as well. Is it Wilson Jr.? Jeff Wilson Jr., I think it is.
For sake of argument, we'll say that. Yeah. I can't remember personally.
I believe. I just believe the Colts have the worst rushing defense. The Dolphins don't really have a good pass game right now with Snoop Huntley throwing it.
Yeah.
So they're just going to run it down their throats. And they do have 2 decent running backs still, even though A-Chain's out.
You're not wrong.
So I think the Dolphins are going to win that on the ground. Maybe a little trick play to Tyreek Hill every once in a while.
I could see that. Honestly, though, Anthony Richardson, I think, is supposed to be back for this game.
He is. That's also why I like the Dolphins.
That's fair. Kev took Dolphins or who's it? Colts. He took Indy to cover this game. I'm just going to ride his pick. I don't know what to expect here, but I don't believe in Dolphins coaching at all at this point, personally.
That's fair. I mean, if they just run the ball, they win the game, in my opinion.
That's too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's a boring game, but it's effective.
Yeah, exactly. Seattle at Atlanta.
Bird-on-bird action.
Yeah, this is bird-on-bird violence right now. I'm going to go Atlanta -3. Yep. I think the Seahawks are still pretenders, and I think this line is a little bit skewed.
I think the Falcons are...
I think they're
when they're playing as their highest their best football, I think they're a top 3 team right now.
I completely agree. I think it's taken them longer to get acclimated, but that's also Kirk Cousins coming over.
Yeah, and once they start throwing the ball around to Pitts and everyone else, it's just going to click better. And I think Kirk's finally starting to get comfortable and trusting these receivers better.
I agree. And Kevin took Seattle money line. All right. Well,
there we go.
Can't do anything about that. That's Kev's pick. Detroit at Minnesota. This is a wonderful 1 o'clock game we were blessed upon.
This is game of the week, in my opinion.
I am personally just going to take the over 49.5. The last, I think, 6 meetings have all gone over 50 points. I like this being set at 49.5. The Vikings defense a lot better than it has been in the past. But I think Detroit's their offense is too good to not.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me is Detroit just lost Hutch. And
That's
Vikings
true.
are coming off bye.
Ooh, that's a good point.
But Lions are also coming off a dominant win. They have that energy rolling into next week.
And it's at Minnesota, so they stay in the dome.
Yeah, but they're also 5-0. The Vikings are not going to go undefeated. Lions are going to be one of the teams to take them.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about, and it's a divisional game. The spread's 1.5 right now, at least on FanDuel.
I'm going Lions.
I like Lions. I'll take that too. F it. And did Kev give a pick for this one? Minnesota -1.
Me and Kevin are fighting now.
It's a battle out here on the pond today.
I don't think him and I have the same pick yet.
No. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati's favored by 6.5.
But Nick Chubb. Give me the Bengals.
You like the Bengals?
I like the Bengals on
Jesus
this one.
Christ. Yeah.
They just lost Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson's still going Deshaun Watson. They don't have Jerome Ford. Yes, they have Nick Chubb, but he's coming off a big injury from last season. They're not going to give him all the workload on a game they probably are going to lose anyway.
I'd agree with that.
If they're smart.
Yeah, no, I'm going to stay away from this Battle of Ohio because I could see the Bengals getting blown out by Deshaun Watson and this being his coming out party.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's against the Cincinnati. And I could also see Cincinnati scoring 17 touchdowns on them.
Yeah,
I'm pretty split personally.
I don't have much faith in the Bengals, but I have less faith in the Browns.
You know what? That's an excellent quote. Kev hit Cincinnati -10.
Do you mean -10? Okay.
He took them to dog walk.
You both chose the Bengals. This is a little more exaggerated than mine, but
Philadelphia at New York. Let's see here. -3 for Philly, over under 43.5.
Give me the Giants.
You know what's funny? Kev took the Giants too on this one.
Okay.
I would have to agree.
If
Sirianni's going to
plays
blow.
too.
Yes, I think they said he was practicing.
They said
today.
he is. So if he plays, I think the Giants win. The Giants really
don't look.
They haven't looked that bad. They're still a mid team.
But they're higher in the mid category than we expected based on the first couple.
Before the
weeks.
season started, I expected the Eagles and the Giants to split games.
Yeah, no.
This is in New York.
Yeah, the Meadowlands.
Eagles are in shambles right now. They could pick it up later in the year, but I think
could.
right now would be the best time if the Giants were to beat the Eagles, would be this game.
I like the +3. I don't have a real opinion other than I called Sirianni a baboon a couple weeks ago, and I stand by that. His haircut makes him look like a big old doofus.
This is also a huge game for Sirianni.
Yeah,
because they lose to the worst team in the division.
No, the
all
divisional
eyes
standings
are going to be on him.
Yeah. Oh, the divisional standings are going to be fucked because then the Cowboys beat the Giants beat the Eagles. Commanders have a best overall record.
Would the Eagles fall to the bottom then?
No, I don't. I think the overall record for the Giants is still lower.
They're 2-4. I thought. I could be wrong.
We'll check that here in a bit.
Sounds good.
Or you can check it now.
Yeah, I'll check it. I'll pull it up real quick.
See what those
you can move on.
NFC East divisional standings are. Las Vegas at LA. Rams are favored by 6.5. The Raiders just gained Tom Brady and lost Davante Adams. I can't wait to see Tom Brady suit up for this matchup. I don't think God himself could pull the Raiders out of the jaws of defeat.
So if the Giants win, no, they'll be 3-4, and the Eagles will be 3-3.
Okay.
So they still be down, but they have that head-to-head.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't think God could save the Raiders right now. Personally, Madison hasn't looked that bad, honestly.
And Cooper Kupp comes back, I think.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp might be back. This is in LA, so there will be a lot of Raiders fans there. However, I would say Sean McVay can outcoach Pierce.
Yeah. I'm taking the Rams every day of the week here.
I agree. Kevin has Rams -10.
He likes the 10s.
He likes 10s, baby.
A little excessive.
10s on 10s. Carolina at Washington. Washington -8.5, over under 51.
No, this is a Commanders by 10.
This is Commanders by 10. Oh.
Yeah.
Kevin has Commanders by 10. How about those? I also like the over. This is 51.5. This is an extreme side of the over-under portion of the books. I really like that over.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers could sneak 14-21.
I think Dalton's going to have a good game because Commanders also don't have a really good defense.
Their defense is
It's not going to be a shootout. It's not going to be close, but I think they'll stay in it for at least the first half.
They also lost a lot of key players on defense.
The Commanders did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the defense shouldn't be better by any stretch of the imagination. But, yeah, should be a good game.
Especially with Brian Robinson Jr. I believe he's coming back, and that dude's been a standout.
I'm not going to lie. Eckler's not looked too bad as a running back, too.
Yeah.
If anybody on this has been watching since last year, I hated him on the Chargers. But it pains me to say he's not looked bad.
What he said he wanted was not to get most of the load, and that Brian Robinson Jr. has been just taking over the load and doing what he needs to do.
And Eckler's a way better catching running back anyway, and they've used him that way.
Yeah.
So it's worked out. I'm happy for him.
They've turned that organization around real quick. It's only week 6 or going into week 7.
If they'd never traded Chase Young to the 49ers before he went to the Saints.
Yeah, that would have been...
They actually had a leader on defense.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. They have a really good defensive tackle, I think, but he's out for the year now.
Is he?
Yeah. So what could have been is no longer that, but Jay Daniels.
I'd still like to go back to the preseason where I said the Commanders... I said second in the division. They're looking to take the division now.
I know.
It's still week 7. It's still early. But
yeah, overreaction week 7.
I'm going to let it
fly.
My prediction go as long as I can.
Yep. Kansas City at San Francisco. Super Bowl matchup. Or rematch. Sorry. San Francisco's favored by 1.5. Over under 47.5. Kevin took Kansas City -3.
I'm going Niners.
Really?
They're going to come back. This is going to be their Super Bowl after losing last year. Chiefs really, I mean, they're 5-0, but they really haven't blown anyone out.
No.
They haven't looked amazing.
49ers will be the team to dismantle
Niners have
the Chiefs.
A chip on their shoulder to win this game, unfortunately.
I think everything's against the Chiefs in this one, especially because it's at Levi Stadium.
I don't think either the Vikings or Chiefs are going to go 6-0. I think it's just going to be everyone has at least a loss under their belt this week.
I can see it. And honestly, I do agree with you that the 49ers are going to treat this like it's their Super Bowl because they lost it twice now to the Chiefs.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
They got to win the regular season matchup to lose the Super Bowl again.
Yep.
New York Jets at Pittsburgh Steelers. Davante Adams' first game with the Jets. Oh, this is the Sunday night game too, by the way.
Yeah, and then Russell Wilson's first game with the Steelers.
Yeah, why the fuck
I hate that call, man.
Here, you want to know my conspiracy theory is? They They started Russell Wilson because Tomlin got sick and tired of people asking who's going to start this week.
Yep.
So he's put in Russ to hopefully lose.
To get blown out by Aaron Rodgers.
Worst case possible. Russell Wilson loses. They put Justin Fields back in. Tomlin doesn't have to hear about this whole thing.
Russell Wilson looks like the bad guy. They keep Fields, and now their fans get what they want.
Exactly.
But I mean, you're 4-2. You're leading the AFC North, with no one expected them to do.
No.
Fields has 10 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Fields looks good.
He's had a couple fumbles. He had a couple big sacks that shouldn't have been sacks.
No doubt.
But I mean,
for what's
he's
on
done
par,
what he needed to do.
I completely agree.
So far in the year, there's no reason you should ever take him out at this point.
And the Jets' defense has not looked like what most people thought of it or what people think of it.
Everyone also thought the Hassan Reddick one, the better pass rusher's going to play.
I don't know where
Sauce Gardner's kind of fallen off a cliff this year. I haven't seen much about him.
I think because the Jets' defense as a whole is worse than it was last year. I think there's a lot of I don't know if it was been injuries or if it's just scheme.
Yeah.
Sauce is still pretty good. I think everyone else on that defense isn't what, like, as
the
a
whole
collective.
Org, yeah.
It just looks worse. So I'm interested to see how this game goes.
I got to give it to the Jets, though.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing buddy ball, and I don't know how that's going to affect the team. Because he finally started getting with Garrett Wilson. Now Garrett Wilson, who is a wide receiver 1, is a wide receiver 2.
I think that helps Garrett Wilson.
It depends. Is Aaron Rodgers not going to throw to him that much anymore?
My opinion is going to be teams will have to double cover Davante Adams.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson will now start getting that man coverage. And while I don't think by any means Garrett Wilson will get more targets or receptions, I think the ones he does get will be deeper and easier.
Okay.
Or maybe better for him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
As a wide receiver, too, I mean, he's a great wide receiver, too. You know what I mean?
It just scares me how close they are. If he starts giving him all the targets, other players might not start liking it. They start losing because of it. It's...
Well, when Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers were on the Packers together a few years ago, I don't really think they had a wide receiver, too.
They didn't.
I think it was Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and then they had the tandem running backs.
Kelsey Mahomes
for
a little bit there.
I think this helps the entire offense for the Jets. I'm going to take the Steelers.
You're taking the Steelers.
At home at, not Heinz Field anymore, Acrisure Stadium. I'm taking the Steelers because that defense is going to rock Rodgers like the old he is.
Good point. But they also got Russ.
No, you're right. But I also think that Russ is going to do just enough to actually throw the ball downfield.
Fair.
They just beat up the Raiders with Justin Fields. Not too impressive in my opinion.
No.
Iffy. But also I think Russ Wilson's much more of a pocket passer than he is like a scrambler. Even though he can scramble. We've seen that a few times over the last couple years
when
the Broncos.
He needs to.
So just those sole points alone.
I was dogging on Russ. I don't think Russ is really that bad of a quarterback yet. I just think he got put into a really bad spot in Denver.
I agree. I'm only putting this on the Steelers because I feel like everyone's forgotten that he's still a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's just a meme nowadays.
Yeah, so I'm just going with the meme pick. Kevin had Steelers -3.
Okay. And he still suits up every game. He's on that bench. He's finally coming out, but he got the helmet on. He's always ready.
The bench vibes are immaculate with him. Monday night's game, Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Baltimore is favored by 3.5. Tampa Bay just got done putting up 57 on the Saints.
Yep.
Over/under is 49.5. I love that idea. It's a 7 o'clock or 8:15 game. I'm so sorry.
It's 8:15, yeah.
God, I don't know what to expect from this.
I can't bet against Baker at home, man.
I
can't
wrong.
bet against Baker.
It feels wrong.
How's the Bucs defense, rushing defense? That's your real question.
Vita Vea will be in the middle of that defensive line. I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot remember. I'll put their rank or something up here against the rush right now. But I don't think it's bad. It could be. Yeah. I don't think it is.
I don't know. I can't bet against the Bucs here. I know the Ravens have looked weak though this year.
They haven't looked amazing. They haven't been able to close games so far.
Yeah.
And they almost, I don't know if they almost give it up to the Jaden Daniels, but this is at Tampa Bay. Kevin went with Tampa Bay -4.
Damn.
I'm
pretty sure the Bucs are underdogs on this too.
Yeah, they are.
And dang, okay.
Kevin flipped it 7.5 points. I think I like the over too, but it's a prime time, so I'm not going to do that. I might take Tampa Bay +3.5.
I don't want to disrespect the Ravens though, because they are
really good.
A super team.
Because the Tampa Bay has 2 or 3 running backs in a rotation right now. Bucky Irving and
Rashid White.
Yeah, White and maybe one other. And then Baltimore's just dominant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Baltimore to win. I'm just going to put Baltimore to win.
You're going Baltimore?
Yeah.
I'm going Bucs.
All right. That works.
Can't bet against Baker.
Oh, now the end of week 7. Lucky 7, Chargers at Arizona. Chargers are favored -2.5. I would imagine Marvin Harrison Jr. will be healthy for this game.
He had concussion protocol. Wide receivers usually miss a week after.
Okay.
So he's still questionable. I don't think he plays, honestly.
I'd be okay with that.
But the Cardinals' backup running back's pretty good. What's his name?
Not James Conner, but Chargers have been stopping the run though.
I can't remember his name.
That's all right.
Butler maybe.
Might be. I like the Chargers. As the biased man I am, I'm finally just going to pick the Chargers to win this game.
The Cardinals' offense only looks good against bad offenses. They've shown that their offense is horrible against good defenses, and the Chargers surprisingly do have a really good defense.
I think they either have the number one in a couple categories. It might be points against, and they also have the top 3 and top 5 pass and rush defense.
Yeah, I'd give it to the Chargers. Honestly,
I'm going for an ugly primetime game that the Chargers win.
What's the score?
Over/under is 43.5. I think this is going to be a 2017 Chargers.
I think it's going to be that close.
21-17.
Okay.
I think Cardinals have to kick a field goal. J.K. Dobbins, Ladd McConkey, and Disley get touchdowns. Those are the 3 people that score.
I like that Disley.
Mm-hmm. A little curve. Oh no, Fehoko. Not Disley. Fehoko.
Who's your running back? The rookie that scored last week.
Vital.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I hope he shows up
because he'll be there because Gus is still out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Kevin's Chargers to cover. There we go. Kevin had Chargers to cover. Nevertheless, though, that is week 7 picks with us. You have anything else, Seth?
I don't.
All right.
I'm good.
In that sense, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Spotify, description, yada, yada, yada. Everyone have a great week, and we'll see you next time.